Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's such a joy to be here with you. It's one of I'm lucky. I have a great life, so I have a lot of highlights every week, but this is definitely like top 3. I look forward to seeing all of you beautiful yogis and getting to share and practice with you. Today's class is something that I've been working on in my own practice, finding more fluidity in my pelvis so that I'm not over gripping in the front of the pelvis with the psoas or with the glutes. You know, sometimes strong doesn't mean functional. So today we're going to work to find a lot of fluidity and functional movement in the pelvis, and it should also be really fun. So hopefully everyone's got the music. I'm going to take that away from the screen now. Go to our website if you want to have a super fun special playlist. And we'll start in awakening some sensation in our feet. So if you're not already seated, come to a comfortable seat, face me. Looks like everyone's set up perfectly. You kind of know the drill by now, but long edge of the mat facing your TV or computer will be ideal. And before we begin, just close the eyes for a moment. Sometimes closing the eyes, you can realize how loud your thoughts have been all day. If that's not the case for you, congratulations, that's awesome. If it is the case, take a few deep breaths, just allowing some space to be created between you and the mind. Try to feel the sensation of the breath flowing into the body, filling the body. And then as you exhale, allow yourself to soften and release and keep your attention inside though the breath flows out. And because we're working with the pelvis today, just become aware of the base of your torso. Imagine this huge, spacious bowl. And as you continue to watch the breath, imagine you're filling this bowl with your breath. You're filling your body cavity all the way down, just letting the breath expand you, pooling in the navel. And again, as you exhale, keep the awareness at the navel. Let thoughts leave, let tension leave, let breath leave, and repeat a few more times on your own. And so imagine the pelvis, this huge spacious bowl. This is a funny image, but I think it's going to help you. Like a basketball floating in water, okay? And so start to gently tip the pelvis forward, to the side, to the back, to the other side. And imagine that this basketball is just slowly starting to rotate in this bowl of water. There's no resistance, right? There's no gripping on any of the sides. It can just really gently and effortlessly start to spin in the bowl, right? It's just floating. Try to go the opposite way. And there's no sense of trying to stretch any certain muscle or release any specific tension. It's just allowing the pelvis to be supported and fluid. Okay? And we'll have a lot of opportunities to play with this idea, but let it start to sink in right now. Right? You're not going to push too far into the hips or into any back bends. You're going to try to keep the sense of fluidity and smoothness in the pelvis. And then start to make your way to center. And so there's just a buoyancy and a lightness in the pelvis, and you don't have to do anything. And then place your right foot in front of the left. If you have not started playing your music yet, you are welcome to hit play on the first song, the one titled Wealth, but that has nothing to do with the song. And then bring your hands to your right foot. And just start to notice the sense of your hands wrapping around the foot, so you're feeling the fingers, you're feeling the sole of the foot, and you're feeling them feel each other. And just gently start to move the fingers around the foot really lightly, just awakening your awareness of your foot and what it's like to be able to feel and take in information through the sole of the foot. And this is actually going to help us with our pelvis later, because the more we can start to let information sink in through the feet, the more our divinely intelligent bodies can organize, right? And so all of the muscles that attach to the pelvis can intelligently support the pelvis without any strain. If we wake up these sensors. Start to squeeze the toes, bringing more pressure, but with more pressure you have to focus a little bit more, right? So you don't become externalized, because it's not about giving yourself a foot massage, it's just about feeling. Okay, my finger's pressing there, I can feel it, I can feel sensation in the tissues. Walk your way to the ball of the foot, inside and outside of the ball of the foot. Sorry I didn't warn you, I didn't tell you to wash your feet before class, but and walk your way up to the arch. And again, just keep observing, right? You're not doing, there's no magic button that you hit and all the tension's gone. The magic is in the awareness, in the feeling, in the capacity to be bigger than just your limited physical body. You can observe as you're moving. Make your way all the way to the heel, the Achilles tendon, even up the calf eventually. You don't have to rush. And then notice if you're too fixated on the foot, see if you can keep feeling your breath flowing as you're paying attention to all these sensations. Take just a couple more breaths to finish on the right side. And then sit up tall, pause, and just notice any sense of awareness in the right leg. And then switch sides, and we'll do the same thing on the left side. So start with just those grazes, with the fingers brushing the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, just that light sensation. And then maybe the fingertips even notice, oh, my heel has a rougher skin than the rest of my foot. You know, you're taking in information through the foot, you're taking in information through the fingers, and you, capital Y, are conscious of all of this. You're aware of it all happening. Start to squeeze toes, can play with different amounts of pressure. The ball of the foot, the arch of the foot. Keep breathing and keep witnessing. Make your way to the heel. Achilles tendon, ankle bone, and then eventually calf, shin. Okay, and let's actually test this a little bit. So plant the feet in front of you, push down into hands and feet to slowly come up to standing. Close the eyes and let the feet walk out underneath the hips. And again, imagine that ball in the bowl of water, the ball of the pelvis. Bend the knees and allow that rotation to start to happen totally unimpeded, right? It's just really soft. You're not trying to stretch anything. You're just allowing the pelvis to rotate really smoothly. Yeah, you can imagine you're doing like a hula dance just for you, right? And it's really about the pelvis. So make sure you're feeling that anchor. And then slowly start to walk around your space a little bit. And notice the feet on the floor. And try not to force anything to engage. Try to let the feet start to guide you. Try to feel space on the front of the hips, the side of the hips, the back of the hips, nothing locking up. And if you feel something locking up, that's okay. Maybe that's a pattern of imbalance, and hopefully through class we can start to release that, you know? So if you notice tightness, just catalog it. And then make your way back to your mat and walk to the short edge of the mat. Let the feet come nice and wide. And it will probably be easiest if your right hand is pointed towards me. So you might walk to the other end of your mat if that's not the case. And then start to bend the knees and rock the hips from side to side. We're slowly going to come all the way down to seated so we can start our sequence. That was just our little exploration to see how our pelvises are doing and to allow the feet to start to signal freedom in the pelvis. Extend the legs, lie all the way down, and just take a few deep breaths, letting all of that go. Right? Don't think about it, just let it happen. Slowly start to drag the heels towards the sits bones. And as you drag the heels, try to feel the back of the legs waking up. The hamstrings actually have to engage to flex the knee here, so pay attention to that. And then let the soles of the feet root into the mat, reach the fingertips towards the heels, and without moving, drag the heels towards the sits bones and just notice the low back arch a little bit. And then try to relax the low back so those muscles aren't tightening. Drag the heels and release just a couple of times to feel the pelvis tilting forward, the back arching slightly but without force. And the next time the heels drag and the back arches, start to push down into the feet, down into the hands, but try to keep the hips and the back really soft. So it's just the legs engaging and just the arms engaging, but you can even like swing your hips from side to side, right? So there's no gripping in the glutes. There's not even any gripping in the hip flexors. Maybe you're barely in a back bend, right? And that's okay. We're trying to create a lot of space between the femurs, the thigh bones, and the hip sockets. And then place the hips back down and slowly keep your feet where they are, but let the knees start to fall out to the sides, kind of like a modified Baddha Konasana. And notice how gravity pulls the knees open. And then slowly start to resist gravity to point the knees up towards the ceiling. And then do that again. Allow the knees to start to fall open, but control it, right? So there's this really subtle control of the inner thigh lengthening. And then control on the way up. And it doesn't feel forced. You're just resisting gravity as the knees drop out. And then you're working against gravity to lift the knees back up. Do this a few more times on your own and notice any sense of massaging through the back of the hips. Releasing in the inner thigh. Not because you're letting everything go, but just because nothing is gripping, right? It's just a nice, easy lift and lower. And then next time the knees drop out, let them stay there. Bring fingertips behind the head and slowly start to roll up for a Baddha Konasana crunch, but don't overdo it, right? Just light engagement in the front of the body and then release. And then roll up to the left. So the elbows drawing towards the left thigh, and you feel a little bit more on the left side of the body. And then release to center, and then same thing to the right side. And then we'll repeat that again. So starting at the center, feel the front of the body lifting you, and then release down. And then lift towards the sides. You feel the side of the body lifting you, the oblique muscles, and then to the right. One last time on your own, just noticing the front of the spine, the left side of the spine, the right side of the spine. And then release the head down, extend the arms overhead, and let the knees slowly drop to the left, and then drop to the right. And then do this a few times, massaging through the back of the hips, releasing any tension there. This will become more and more important after we go through our sequence each time, just to ungrip and let go. The next time the knees fall over to the right, push into the left foot a little bit more so you can roll all the way onto the right side. And let the left knee start to lift into the chest like a sideways crunch. Bring the left elbow towards the left knee, and then reach the hand and foot apart, letting the whole left side of the body lengthen and reach and stretch. And take a few of those and notice any tendency of overdoing it. And then try to find right effort, right? You don't have to make this an intense thing. It's just like, okay, how much does my body need to do to support my arm and leg here? The next time you reach out, keep the foot reaching, but push down into the left hand to slowly press up to seated with the left leg extended. Bend the left knee generously and just start to reach over the left leg. And then reach the other way, planting the right hand. Push down into foot and knee for rock star. Lift the hips. And then play with hovering the left foot for just a moment. And notice how the left hip likes that or not. And then put the hips down, and we're going to repeat that sequence. So left knee bends, reach over the left leg, lengthening through the right side of the body. And then kick into the left heel. Rock star, push down to let the hips lift, and then let that left leg hover for a moment, and then set it down one more time on your own. And then start to pay attention to the pelvis and notice any sense of you trying to overdo it and like jamming into the front of the hip or the outside of the hip, and see if you can let go of that. So the pelvis continues to be fluid. I lied when I said one more time. Let's do one more. And it's not about depth, right? It's just about fluidity in the pelvis. And then the foot lowers, the hips lower. We've got a fun transition, and I'll demo it a couple times in case you're new to it. So the right foot is going to hop over the left foot, and it means the left foot's going to have to swivel. So you end up on the toes of the left foot facing the other way. Don't worry, we're going to do it a lot of times, so you'll get the hang of it. But try it a couple times on your own. So left hand plants behind you, power into the right foot, and hop it over the left foot so you're in a lunge. Yes, you got it, Amisha. Awesome. And feel free to try it again, or once you land in that lunge, take a few hula hoops with the pelvis. Move extra slow. And just bring your awareness to the thigh bone and the hip socket. We're not trying to stretch anything here. We're like the Tin Man, and we're trying to lubricate our joints, right? So we're just trying to create some space and not overdo it. Don't worry, the more lubrication we create here, the more stretch and release we'll get without even trying. So we'll get there. Just be patient. And then bring the hips to center. Feel free to walk the right foot over to the right if that just feels more spacious. I know I need that. Push down into the feet. Let the pelvis press forward and slowly allow the spine to stack. Bring the elbows to a big W and push down to let the front of the spine open. But notice if you're overdoing it in that left hip. If you're feeling a lot of sensation in the left hip, back out a little bit by pushing down and trying to create more space in the joint. And then start to push into the right heel and push the hands forward. I've been calling this in my own mind like centering my chi. So we'll do this a few times. Center your chi and feel the support on the front of your spine, and keep that support there as you bend into the right knee and open the front of the body. So there's a lot of support and control in the front of the spine, so the low back doesn't have to grip here. If you feel the low back gripping, wag your tail and let it release. We don't want any tightness in the low back. And let's do that again. So center your chi. Feel the support on the front of the spine. Shift the weight into the front foot and keep all that strength in the front of the spine as you open up. Pay attention to that front of the left hip. You don't want to feel too much intensity there, just creating space. One last time on your own. And the next time you open up, let's all shake our tail feathers a little, let everything ungrip in the pelvis and the thigh bones. And then place the left hand down, reach the right arm up, let the hips soften, take a twisted lunge. And then make sure there's a lot of space between your left hand and your right foot. Press into the right foot, slide the left foot in between that space, and extend the left foot through. Woohoo, we got a lot of fun transitions today. Twist towards the right leg, lengthen the spine, take a breath. And then untwist, place the right ankle over the left thigh, figure four, and just rock from side to side, massaging the side of our hips, trying to create space and openness in every part of the hip today. And then extend the legs, drag the heels back to bend the knees, engaging through the back of the legs, just like we did lying down. Start to reach the heart forward, release the spine, hands can support you, and then kick into the heels to roll up. Drag heels to reach forward, kick into the heels to roll up, and move extra slow. And we're going to use this each time we come back to it in the sequence to really release through the back. And so it's not about stretching, it's just about releasing any knots, any tension, because sometimes our yoga practice does create a little tension, and that's not wrong, right? Sometimes that's what we need to get stronger. We want to make sure it releases every time any tension builds up until we find a way to do it without any tension. The next time you roll up, let yourself roll onto your back and just take a couple of rolls there, massaging the back. And then we'll all meet in a mini Shavasana. I guess it's the same size, but mini in time. Take a breath here and just let all that information settle. Imagine breathing down to the pelvis, breathing all the way down to the feet. And we'll go through that same exact sequence on the second side, continuing to create space in the hip sockets, releasing any tension on any direction of the pelvis. Slowly start to drag the heels back, bringing your awareness to your hamstrings and the back of the hips, enlivening. Plant the soles of the feet. Reach hands towards heel, push down into feet and hands to lift the hips, but then shake your tail out, right? Make sure the low back is totally soft, the glutes are totally soft. We're just exploring here, using the legs and letting the spine be really soft, like a hammock. So let the hips sway from side to side. And then slowly release one vertebra at a time, back down. And then allow the knees to start to drop out for our modified Baddha Konasana, but resist gravity, right? So move really slowly. And then same way, slow on the way up, and just try to notice the inner leg line supporting you and gently contracting to lift the knees. Take a few on your own. We can call this like aging butterfly. It's great. Tammy, you're unmuted. I love it because I get to hear you laughing at my jokes. I'm glad someone's benefiting from that. Okay, so the next time the knees open, interlace, or actually just bring fingertips behind the ears, lift towards center, release, lift to the right, release, lift to the left, release. So center, and then one side, and then the other. And once you've got the hang of it, see if you can go from the right to the left without releasing, but also without any tension in the neck or shoulders. And then release the head down, reach the arms overhead, and then we take our slow motion windshield wipers. And just notice whatever leg's on top, notice that knee reaching away from the pelvis, and see if that helps you get a little extra length and space in that top hip socket. You can imagine that top knee reaching away from the fingertips on that same side, just getting a lot of length on the side body. And the next time you roll towards the left, push into the right foot to roll all the way onto the left side, and then bring right knee and right elbow together, and then extend right foot and right hand apart. And take a few of these really mellow pulses. The next time the right leg reaches away from you, push down into the right hand, slowly coming up into Parvatajana Shirshasana setup. Bend the right knee, take your bend over to the right, and then kick into the right heel, lifting the hips, rock star, not jamming into the front of the hips, right? Letting the hips be really spacious and buoyant. Play with lifting that right leg, and then set it down, set the hips down, and repeat. And it might be a little easier on the second side to remember the sequence, so feel free to go at your own pace. Always trying to move a little more smoothly, always trying to let it be a full body movement rather than like, oh, hamstring stretch, quad stretch, right? No, it's like open the whole body. Release the whole body. One last one, and then we'll meet at just upright. And we'll practice that transition. Okay, so if you've got the transition, you can go for it. Otherwise, right hand plants behind you, sole of the left foot plants, power into the left foot to hop over the right, and then drop the right knee, take your hula hoops. And you should be pointed the other direction, right? The direction we started. Move slowly here. Try both directions. And just keep getting this sense of creating more space on every side of the hip socket, right? Not just the front, not just the back. And then come to center, walk the foot over to the left, and then push down to slowly rise up. Open the elbows off to the side so the tops of the shoulders feel really spacious, and let the heart just be an offering to your highest self for a moment. And then center your chi. Press forward, press the hips back. And the more you push forward and kick into that heel, feel strength condensing at your center. Keep that strength as you bend into the front knee and start to open back up. And let that strength support the front of the spine so the back can be really soft here. Let the glutes also be soft. And let's try it again. So center your chi and then keep that strength. Let the front of the body open, and this might not be the normal way that you do Anjaneya Asana. We're experimenting, right? We're trying to release tension in the pelvis, so let it be different. Take a couple more on your own, trying to release any doership or any sense of getting deeper into the front of the right hip, and instead let it all be about support in the pelvis. The next time you open up, pause there, and wag your tail, right? To make sure nothing's gripping. And you can really shake here, or like you can really try to shake here. Yeah, no one can see you. I'm big, right? They have me like zoomed in, so no one can see you except me, and I love you. Plant your right hand. Let there be a lot of space between right hand and left foot. Power into the left foot to slowly step the right foot through. Nice. You guys all look like ninjas. And then twist to the left. And then left ankle on top of the right, bend the right knee, And then just gently massage through the hips, right? And even figure 4 sometimes becomes this like intense glute stretch, like, oh, how far can I stretch it? No, just like give yourself a massage. Let those muscles release. You don't have to make it happen. And then extend both legs, bend the knees, drag heels back to release spine forward, kick into the heels to roll up. And we'll take several here, right? This is our time to really release the spine, tune in. When I first started this sequence, like creating it, I overdid it in my low back. My low back got really tight. That's why I'm getting on your case and making sure you're releasing your low back. So check in here. If you feel tightness building in your low back, it's like, okay, pay extra attention as we go through the next sequence. Get on your own case. How can I release that? How can I move without building tension? Take a couple more. If you're playing with the music, it's time for track 2, Morning Room. Cool, I see some people reaching for their phones, so I'm glad to see that's working. All right, and once you've figured that all out, you can roll back and either meet us in Shavasana or take a few rolls, because rolling's fun. It's good for your fascia. It's good for your spinal cerebral fluid. It's good for your core. And then we'll float on our mat for a moment. And just take a few deep breaths. And just trust that your body knows how to support you. And the more you can feel and follow its little whispers, the more you can release tension and build strength. Take a few deep breaths just to feel your body expand. And we'll start by dragging the heels back, waking up awareness on the back of the legs and pelvis. Plant the feet, reach the hands. Slowly start to lift the hips, making sure low back and glutes are nice and soft. Wag your tail from side to side, and then imagine your spine's like a hula hoop, right? Allow yourself to lower, circle up. And so it is a little asymmetrical, right? You're lifting on one side, going through the center, and then lowering on the other. And then go the opposite direction. And if this isn't serving you, you can go back to just lifting and lowering in the center. But this is a really fun way to awaken strength all around the spine and in every dimension of the pelvis. Then come to center, slowly release one vertebra at a time. Check in with the feet. Sometimes you just want more space and just say like, yeah, go where you want to go. Let them go. And then slowly let the knees open. Fingertips behind the ears. Roll up to center. We're going to add on here. Roll down. And then roll up to the left. This time, hover the left foot and squeeze left knee and elbow towards one another, but they don't have to touch. I'm going to call this a frog crunch. And then left foot down, back to neutral. Same thing on the other side. And then one at center. And then do this a few times on either side and try not to overdo it, right? Just notice one side lengthening, one side shortening without having to over contract or make it intense. If you feel like crunchies in your hip socket, you're going a little too far, so be okay with not going as deep. Release the head, reach arms overhead, and then windshield wiper the knees from side to side. If it feels good, the next time the knees rock over to the right, point the left knee away from the left fingertips to really lengthen the left side of the body, and then do that same thing on the other side. And if that doesn't make sense, just ignore me and keep windshield wipering. And then we'll all meet on the right side once again. So push into that left foot to roll over and take elbow towards the knee as gently as possible. And then lengthen them apart. And then keep them apart. Push the left hand down in front of the body, slowly coming up to Parvattajana Shirshasana. Take your side bend. This time the arms can stay lifted or they can lower, whatever you want. And then push down into the left heel, power down into the right hand to lift the hips. Hover the left leg this time, and let's add that same side crunch, elbow to knee, as gently as possible. And then lengthen out, hips down, we're back at the beginning. So bend the knee, reach over the left side, and then kick into the heel to unfurl, plant the right hand, lift the hips, and then take your effortless crunch. I don't even want to call it a crunch, but I don't know what else to call it. You guys look really awesome in that move. Take your move. One last time on your own. I've got to turn the fan on because that's like a for real movement that works up some heat. Okay. And then the next time the hips lift, if you've got that pivot transition, play with lowering the hips and riding the momentum all the way into the transition. And if you're like, what just happened? Lower the hips, plant the left hand, power into the right foot to hop over. Yeah. And then go into the hula hoops, nice and easy. Press into the feet to slowly rise up, high lunge. We're just going to, low lunge. We're going to just do this one time. Channel your chi. So feel the front of your spine supported, and then return into Anjaneyasana. This time, keep your legs rooted, but start to twist the body open. So you have a sense of the body opening and the hips staying closed. And there might be like a little bit of tension in the left side, those oblique muscles. Keep that tension there. Tuck the toes, lift the back knee, press the back heel down. We're playing in Virabhadrasana 2, but we're not maxing out the hips, right? That's why the hips are squared and the body's open, so the hips can be really buoyant and relaxed. And then bend both knees a little bit. And here we're playing with the pelvis again. Let the pelvis slide forward and back. And if it feels stuck, take a shorter stance. Good. Yeah, and move a little less. Sometimes if you're like confused and you're like, I don't know what's happening, move less and really try to feel the pelvis gliding to the left and gliding to the right. And take a couple more. And the next time the right knee bends, pause there, float the arms to T, gaze over the right middle finger, and just gently bounce. Just releasing any tension, making sure there's no gripping in the pelvis. Notice what is working to support you here. And then float into stillness and take a breath. And then turn all 10 toes to the side. They're out slightly. And then just drop the hips for a moment and do the same thing, shifting from side to side, feeling that pelvic bowl just sliding and gliding, right? There's no gripping anywhere. It's really able to move from side to side. And then turn the toes again, returning to that same side of Vira 2. Take a breath here. If you notice one part of the hip getting really tired, try to share the weight, right? Put a little more weight in the back foot or the outer foot. How can you disperse the tension of the pelvic bowl? Take one more breath. And then come on to the back toes. Start to shift the weight over the right foot and reach the right arms away from, or the right arms, all the arms away from the left foot, lengthening the left side. Hover the back foot and power into the right leg for just a playful Virabhadrasana 3, not going too far. Start to pull the elbows down and lift the knee for a modified tree pose. We can call this crane pose. So you're pointed towards the short edge of the mat. And then kick the left foot back, reach the arms forward, Virabhadrasana 3. Bend the right knee, let the foot come down, and just pause in Virabhadrasana 2, where we began. Okay, that's our sequence. We're going to play with it again and try to make sure the pelvis is moving really fluidly, even if that means you're not going very far into each of those movements. So let the left toes turn out. Take your squat, goddess pose. Shift the weight from side to side. Nice fluid movements in the hips. And then turn the left toes back in. Pause in Virabhadrasana 2, and then push into the left toe, shifting all your weight into the right foot. Stretch the arms long, and then power into the right foot to take flight. Slowly start to pull elbows down and knees up. Crane pose facing the short edge of the mat, so you're facing the direction of your right toes. And then lengthen the fingertips forward and the foot back. Vira 3, and maybe you come a little deeper in the second part. The first one's more of a transition. Bend the right knee, left foot comes down, pause, Vira 2, and then spin the left heel up, left hand down, drop the left knee, reach the right hand high for that twisted lunge that we did before in the sequence. And just play with circling the arm forward, up, and back. And as you do that, let that reach the spine long and then pull the heart open. And so it's not about the arm, it's just using the arm to rotate the spine and get more mobility through the spine. Feel free to pause anywhere in the movement that feels constructive. And then gaze down, power into the right foot, lift the left knee, and slide the left foot through. Twist to the right, releasing any tension in the spine. And then right ankle over left thigh, bend the left knee, massage. Massage that right hip. It probably wants it even more now. So feel free to even rock onto the right side a little bit extra. Imagine you're trying to get all of the attachments on the side of the hip, the side of the thigh bone, the back of the hip. And then uncross the legs, let the feet be nice and wide, bend the knees, just melting forward. Feel free to stay here or take a couple of pulses. And then we'll all meet in Shavasana. Take a couple of breaths. Just letting that sequence sink in before we repeat it on the second side. Just breathe down to the pelvis. Sequence starts by dragging the heels back, planting the feet, reaching hands towards heels, push down into feet and hands to effortlessly lift the pelvis, and then wag the tail from side to side. And when you're ready, make some slow circles with the pelvis, trying not to grip anywhere, but just exploring support on the left side, on the top, on the right side, and then go opposite direction. And then back to center, release the spine down. Allow the feet to replant if they're talking to you. And then slowly let the knees drop out, fingertips behind ears. Roll to center. Roll up to the right, let the right knee squeeze towards right elbow, and then down, and then to the left. Center, right, left. Minimal effort, or I should say right effort. You're using your body, you're just not overexerting any one muscle. After you go to the left, next, come back to center, release back down, reach arms overhead, and windshield wiper knees from side to side. If you liked playing with lengthening the knee away from the fingertips, you're welcome to play with that again, or just keep rolling. And then the next time the knees drop to the left, power into the right foot to roll all the way to the left side. Gently bring right knee and right elbow together, and then stretch the whole body, or especially that right side, nice and long. And take a few like that, actually just one. And then press into the right hand, coming all the way up, letting that right leg reach, letting the hips open as much as they can comfortably without forcing. And then reach over the right leg. And then power into the right foot. Lift the hips, rock star. And then bring right elbow and knee together and unfurl. Let the spine open and then hips down, side bend. Take 2 more on your own. And the next time you're lifted, let the hips drop. Plant the right hand off to the right. Power into the left foot to hop over the right leg. And then drop the right knee, taking a couple of circles. Let the pelvis come to center. Push down into knee and foot to slowly rise up. Make a big bowl with the arms opening through the front of the spine. And then channel your chi, reaching the hands forward, spine back, kick into the left foot. Keep all that strength as you push down into the front hip. Let the hips rock forward, opening the front of the spine. And then start to twist the body open to the right, letting your hips stay squared towards the left knee. Back toes tuck under. Start to lift the back knee and reach the back heel down. So you're in Virabhadrasana 2 with the left knee forward, but the hips are pretty closed. And then bend both knees and just gently start to shift the weight, right? So there's this sense of the feet and the knees and the hips gliding and moving, and nothing's locking up. And then bring equal weight into the feet. Bend the left knee, gaze over the left fingertips. Pause in Virabhadrasana 2. And then push into the ball of the right foot. Turn the right toes out. Let the hips sink a little bit. Let the elbows sink a little bit. Goddess pose. And same thing. Glide from side to side so it doesn't become like this experience of opening the hips, but rather supporting the pelvis 3-dimensionally. Try to feel the support in the back of the pelvis, rooting into the sits bones, front of the pelvis, rooting into the pubic symphysis. And then turn the toes back to the left. Pause in Virabhadrasana 2 once again. You can straighten the left leg for a moment if it's tired. And then bend the left knee. Push onto the ball of the right foot, shifting all the weight into the left foot. Start to reach the arms overhead and then power into the left foot so that right leg just hovers. Stretch fingers and toe apart. And then slowly draw elbows down and right knee up into crane pose, facing the short edge of the mat. And then start to tip forward, cross the right ankle over the left knee and bend the knee for a moment. I think I didn't do this on the first side, so we'll save this actually. Come back to crane pose. I gave away the secret. That's going to happen in the last vinyasa. So get ready for it. Kick the right foot back, reach the arms forward, lengthening, and then bend the left knee, let the right toes come down, open to Virabhadrasana 2, and then lift the right heel and open to Goddess. And we'll do that 2 more times. So turn the toes, Virabhadrasana 2, shift the weight, baby warrior 3, stretching fingertips and heel apart. And then lift into crane pose. Pause, circle the ankle, and then start to hinge forward, lengthening hands and foot apart. Take Vira 3 a little deeper if the left hip wants to. And then set the right foot down, Virabhadrasana 2. And then open to Goddess. Take a breath. And turn the right toes in. Drop the right hand down. Drop the right knee. And let the hips sink for a moment, twisting to the left. And we'll add in our arm circle. So reach the left fingertips forward and then up and back. And use the arm to lengthen the spine and open the heart. You don't even want to feel it in the shoulder. You want to just feel it as like directing the core. Feel all the sensation opening through the front of the body. And then come to center, lift the back knee, power into the left foot and the right hand so you can step the right foot through. And then twist away from me, so towards the left. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh, bend the right knee, and just rock from side to side. And give that left side a little extra love after making it do so much work. And try to massage all the way around the left sit bone. And then uncross the legs, and we'll take a few waving Paschimottanasana. You can always hold if stillness is inviting. You can always take a sip of water. And at some point, you can change the vinyasa, you can change the track. So we head into our last vinyasa, and we'll all meet on our backs in a mini shavasana. If you're not using the music, I will tell you, we kind of have like a party song happening. So that will help us flow a little faster, safely, of course, because your body is so intelligent and knows the sequence now. And just take a few deep breaths. And we'll have the option to go a little deeper into some poses, but that doesn't mean you should, right? So you really have to feel and sense what is opening up and what's not. Drag the heels back. Reach hands towards heels. Lift the hips and take one circle in each direction. Hips down. Let the feet adjust. Let the knees slowly open. Fingertips behind ears. Lift to center. Lift to the left. Add the knee in. Sway the other way. And do that one more time on your own. Reach arms overhead, drop the knees to the left, drop the knees to the right, push into the left foot, rolling on to the side, hug left elbow into left knee, stretch everything apart, plant left hand in front of you, push down into the left hand, coming up to our straddle, bend the left knee, reach over to the side, and then power into the left heel, floating up to rock star. Hug left elbow and left knee together, and now we have an option. So you feel the front of the body contracting. As you reach apart and plant the left foot, option to take it a little deeper by opening up through the front of the spine and reaching back. Make sure there's no compression in the low back as you do that. Wagging the tail can always release that. And then release the hips down, plant the left hand off to the left side, push into the right foot to hop over the leg. Take one hula hoop and then push into the front foot, rising up, Anjaneyasana. And then channel your chi, reaching forward, hips back. That looks really nice, Mataji. And then use that strength to rise back up. Twist open to the left. Lift the left knee, spin the left heel down, Virabhadrasana 2. And then lift the left heel, turn the left toes out. And the right toes might come in a little bit when you do that. Goddess pose, shift from side to side. Get the hips ready for our balancing sequence. All right, and then turn the toes to the right, Virabhadrasana 2. Shift the weight into the right foot, reach the right arm over, both arms overhead. Power into the right foot to lengthen. Nice Radharani, and then knee up, elbows down, crane pose. This time, cross the left ankle over the right thigh, sweep the arms up, and as you sweep the arms up, reach the hips back for figure 4. And then arms down, hips up, and take 3 pulses here, opening the outside of that left hip. Nice balance, everybody. The next time you sink in, pause there, but then sway the hips from side to side as long as that's okay with the knee, making sure the left glute's not locking up. And then elbows down, knee up, crane pose. Reach the arms forward and the foot back. Vira 3, take it a little deeper, but bend that right knee so nothing's locking up again. Take a breath here. And then set the left foot down, Virabhadrasana 2, and then open to Goddess. And then shift the weight from side to side, because I know that right leg's tired, so give it a little break. Share the love. And then we're going to do something real crazy. We're going to turn the legs the other way, right? Because now we've done it on both sides. So turn the feet to the left, Virabhadrasana 2. Shift the weight, reach overhead, baby warrior 3. And then crane pose, right knee lifts, elbows down. And then reach the right ankle over the left thigh, hands up, hips back, figure 4 chair pose. And then hands down, hips up, neutral. Take 2 pulses there. And then sit in your chair for a moment, but wag the tail. Have your little dance party here. Elbows down, knee up, reach the arms forward and the foot back. Virabhadrasana 3, stretch. Bend the left knee, right foot down, Vira 2, and then lift the right heel back to Goddess. Shift the weight side to side. We're going to do it one more time to the right. Turn the toes to the right. Don't worry, we'll do it again on the left, but later. Virabhadrasana 2. Shift the weight. Reach the arms overhead. Baby Virabhadrasana 3. Elbows down, knee up, crane pose. Cross the ankle over. Just take one squat here. So bend the right knee, reach the arms up, figure 4. Pause, breathe. And then elbows down, knee up. Reach the arms and the foot away. Virabhadrasana 3. Stay here as long as you want. But when you've had enough, the left toes are going to come straight down, left hand straight down. Reach the right arm up for that twisted lunge. Now with the back knee up, reach the right arm forward, up and back, playing with a twisted high lunge. If you want to take it a little deeper, option to kick into the right heel as the fingertips reach forward and up to extend the right leg. And then just bend the right knee as the hand circles back. So as it circles forward, straighten the leg, bend the knee as it circles back. Feel free to pause at any time. You can walk the left hand a little wider, and when you're ready, slide the left leg through. Take the twist to the right, and then cross right ankle over left thigh. Give yourself a little massage on that right glute. Extend the legs in front of you. We'll just take one wave here. So bend the knees, release the spine forward, kick into the heels, unfurling completely onto your back. Notice any sense of energy flowing or anything feeling open on the right side. We'll do that same sequence one final time. This is the very last time, so soak it up, love it up. Drag the heels back, reach fingers towards heels, press into shoulders and feet, lift the hips, take a circle to the right, take a circle to the left. Feel free to pause at the middle and lift a little more if the body wants that. And then hips down, knees open, crunch to the center, crunch to the right, add in the knee, crunch to the left. Last time each direction. Back to center, reach arms overhead, slow windshield wipers to massage the glutes and release the front of the hip. Make sure nothing's tightening up there. We are working our bodies. The next time the knees drop to the left, press into the right foot, rolling onto the left side. Right elbow and right knee touch, and then extend. Root into the right hand in front of the heart, pushing yourself up. Take your side bend over to the right. And then kick into the heel, plant the hand, lift the hips, rock star. Right elbow and right knee, hug. And then start to unfurl the body, root the right toes. And if it feels okay in the low back, allow the spine to open towards the sky. Allow the right arm to reach back. And then reverse, go back the way you came. So reaching to the side wall, the front wall, hips down. Right hand off to the right, sole of the left foot plants, and then hops over the right leg. Take one hula hoop, and then power into the left foot to rise up Anjaneyasana. Channel your chi, strengthening through the front of the body. Keep all that engagement as you bend the left knee and unfurl the spine, but you still feel that support in the front of the spine. And then open to the right. Tuck right toes, lift right knee, spin the right heel down, pause in Virabhadrasana 2. Be okay if your feet aren't on the mat. That's okay, right? This is real life, guys. And then open the right toes to the side, take a squat, sink from side to side, just testing out the pelvis. And then turn the toes to the left. Shift the weight into the left foot. Reach the arms overhead. Baby Vira 3. Crane pose. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Sweep the arms forward and the hips back. Figure 4 chair. Take 3 pulses. Hands down, hips up, and pulse. The next time you enter the pose, wag the tail. Make sure nothing is gripping, right? If it is gripping, don't come as far, and relax and smile. And then elbows down, knee up. Reach the arms forward and the foot back. Set the foot down. Virabhadrasana 2 for a moment. Then open to goddess. Wag your tail a little bit. Now we go to the other side. So turn the toes to the right. Vira 2. Shift the weight. Get long. Baby warrior 3. Elbows down, knee up, crane. Left ankle over the right. Sweep the arms forward. Figure 4. You can pulse or hold it. It's up to you because we're balanced now. Elbows down, knee up. Reach hand and foot apart. Virabhadrasana 3. Power into the left big toe for a little more stability. And then bend the knee. Virabhadrasana 2. Open to the left for goddess. Close the eyes and just shift the weight from side to side. This is our last one. So if you want to go a little bit deeper, and it's not coming from your ego, but just from the sense of, my pelvis is so awesome, I really want to see what it can do, feel free to bend the knees, widen the feet, let the hips sink a little bit. You all look like goddesses and gods. Unless you want to be a goddess, because anything's on the table. And then turn the toes to the left. Pause. Virabhadrasana 2, our very last one. Push into the right toes. Get long. Baby Vira 3. Right knee up, elbows down. Pause. In crane, circle the right ankle. And then right ankle over left thigh. Sweep the arms forward and just pause. Figure 4. Make sure you're not tensing up. Try to have fun with it. Breathe. And then knee up, elbows down. Reach everything apart. Virabhadrasana 3. This is our last moment standing, so have fun with it. And then right toes down, right hand down. Lift the left hand. If you need more space, walk the left foot over to the left side. Circle the fingertips forward, up and back for twisted lunge. And then option to extend the leg as you reach forward and up, bend the knee as you reach back and down. If that's too hard for your brain, just keep it to the arm. Or just do whatever you want and ignore me. And then pause, power into the left foot, shift the weight and slide the right foot through. Twist to the left. And then left ankle over the right thigh, bend the right knee, and massage through that left hip. Extend the legs. Tent the hands behind you and just pause for a moment at center. You can point and flex the feet. Just being aware of the legs, the thighs, rooting into the hip socket. And then let the legs relax. Without moving them, drag the heels back so the back of the body enlivens, and just notice as the knees bend any capacity to lengthen the spine. Maybe you've had enough and you just want to stay upright here, or you can walk the hands forward, releasing over the legs. Take a few breaths. You can always wave here coming in and out of it like we've done so many times, or just hold. Just make sure there's no pulling in the low back. If there is, come higher out of it. Bend the knees a little bit more. You can always gently rock from side to side to massage out the low back. And then push into the heels. And we're going to add something in here, so we're not coming to our backs just yet. Bring the fingertips underneath the sits bones and post back on your elbows. And try to relax completely here. We're going to play with fish pose, but we really want our low back to be very relaxed. So almost have a sense of slouching and being very, very lazy for a moment. Take a few breaths just checking to make sure you're very lazy. And then gently start to pull the hands back without actually moving them. Just drag them back and notice the sense of the triceps enlivening, the front of the shoulders opening, the front of the heart starting to lift. And keep the back as soft as possible as you play with using the arms to engage the muscles in the upper thoracic. So it might not be a super deep back bend, but the low back is totally released. The front of the pelvis is totally soft. And then slowly slide the arms out from underneath you so you can come into Shavasana and just pause. Take a few breaths to the heart or the navel. It's funny, normally I would do a cool down, but as I'm here, I'm like, my body doesn't want to do anything. So if you feel that way, don't do anything. Just pause and take a few more deep breaths. If your body feels like it wants something, like a gentle twist or a happy baby, by all means, have some fun or another bridge pose. Otherwise, just breathe into the hips and just notice any sense of spaciousness in the front of the hips, side of the hips, the low back. If you're moving or if you're still, just try to have awareness on the breath. Notice any areas of openness and breathe into them. Notice any areas of tension or tightness. Breathe into those. Just letting the breath help you open and help you release whatever it is that you need in this moment. And before we take our full-on Shavasana, we will have some time for meditation. So take your time, but just for fun, because we had a way from getting to this on the back position to getting to upright. Feel free to walk that pathway, right? You can skip all the crunches, but if you want to walk that path, you can drag the heels in, can gently windshield wiper the legs from side to side and then roll onto the right side. You can pause on the right and then gently push into the left hand and maybe the right, letting yourself slowly rise up. And then adjust the feet to any comfortable seated position. If music is playing, at this point you can silence it. Feel free to grab a cushion or sit in a chair, whatever would prevent you from building any tension in your hips. And then as you find your seat, take a moment to just recall that visualization of the body being like a basketball floating in this bowl of water. And it can so effortlessly spin and rotate in every direction. And take a moment to explore the relationship between your body, your hips here. Can be the tiniest movements that only you know are happening, or bigger rotations, whatever helps you just feel the base of the spine, the sits bones, the thigh bones, just everything connected yet not tight. And then make your way to center. As the body truly becomes still for the first time in a very long time, notice your internal space. Maybe there's a sense of being tired or energized, a sense of quiet in the mind. Maybe there's something holding on somewhere that feels tight. Just scan, just observe the effects of your practice. Notice any warmth or tingling, any sense of calm or openness. And then imagine just letting go of the physical body completely. Almost like the physical body stays sitting on your cushion, but then your true self just rises a few inches higher. There's just a sense of letting go of density, letting go of tightness, and connecting to this higher form of you, your energetic body. Just imagine almost like taking off a really, really heavy coat. Just like taking off the coat of your body, letting it slide away. Just sinking into the breath. Letting the breath be your new form. And as any thoughts come into the mind, let them drop away, just like the body. Just this sense that you are in this open pipeline of energy, and the body can't stick, the thoughts can't stick. You can just surrender everything. And just bring all your awareness to the gentle rise and fall of the breath. As you release the grip of the body and the grip of the mind, notice any sense of expansion, being a little lighter or even bigger than your physical form. Try to let go of any sense of controlling the breath. If sensations creep back in, tying you back to your physical body, just repeat the process. Just visualize yourself floating slightly above your body. Use the breath as your lifeline. And this infinite pulsation to prana, vital energy. And for the last couple of minutes of meditation, have a sense that it's possible to feel much more spacious than your limited physical form. In fact, you already are. It's just a trick of the mind that makes you feel confined. So each breath, just let that heavy coat slide off of you, just becoming lighter and freer, and more spacious. You're welcome to remain seated for as long as that feels constructive. And whenever you're ready, can Gently make your way to the floor and try to keep feeling expansive and connected to your breath. And even though the body is moving, imagine you're still expanded beyond those limitations. And there really is a nectar that can nourish you when you connect beyond the body, connect to this vast consciousness that's ever present. And so if you're sitting upright, you can keep working with the same practice, but just imagine this nectar pouring into the crown of your head, just nourishing you on every level. And if you're reclined in Shavasana, you can visualize the same thing, this nectar just being soaked into all of the cells as you rest. Mm. As you start to notice your body again, keep a sense of floating above your body, just watching it, watching the gentle movements and deepening of the breath, watching yourself make your way up to seated. Just keeping this really subtle separation where you're not just sucked right back into the mind and the limited self. It's like operating in two places at once. Your body still walks around and does stuff, but you're conscious of a space beyond that. When you make it to seated, bring hands to heart center and just offer up a little love and gratitude to your highest form, your ultimate potential, any of your teachers or guiding energies that help you in achieving your highest potential. And just breathe into that space of opening that occurs in the heart when you feel gratitude inside. And then just let it all rise up and out of the crown of the head. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here. It's just such a treat to see each of you and your beautiful small selves and your physical practice, but also